we've got a lot that we need to unpack here as it pertains to the Portland Trailblazers, because we talked about the biggest news kind of brewing around Portland, which is the potential of Jeremy Grant and a Lakers trade that has been out there, and who knows what's going to happen there. Should be noted, you know when the last time the Blazers did a deal with the Lakers was? I think I saw this from Tom Havistro.
It's like 72.
It was 1980. And remember, we were sitting there when the Nets and the Knicks did a deal. We were like, "Oh my God, it was 1983.
Been a long time.
It's been longer.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that helps the Lakers, I'm out on. We know that. Hand up, bias. Not a Laker guy. Do not like them. So I would not like to help the Los Angeles Lakers.
No, and that's why I think the Blazers, if they make that deal, are going to make sure they get every pound of flesh that comes along with that. And there is a standing relationship, though, because there are members of Clutch, Rich Paul's agency, LeBron's agency. Let's call it what it is.
Jeremy Grant,
Chauncey Billups, Yusuf Nurkic. There's been quite a few people who have come through that have been more recently Clutch linked or represented members of the organization who have gotten deals, and that those relationships matter. I mean, Neil Olshey, it wasn't just because that he just liked those players. He basically signed everyone in free agency that was a Mark Bartelstein client because he has a relationship with that agent.
Yep.
And that those things happen across. Go take a look at everyone Detroit basically has brought in for years. They have some relationship to WME because Arn Tellem, the vice president, used to run WME. Like it's people do not truly understand how integrated this stuff is.
Is Tobias Harris a WME client? Because he just signed a 2-year, $52 million deal with the Detroit Pistons, which if you were wondering, heading into free agency, the 76ers had the most cap space, $61.3 million. They went and blew right through that with the Paul George signing. The Pistons, they have $51.1 million because everybody is ridiculously young, so they went out and got Tobias Harris, which this man, he's getting the bag over and over again. Good for him.
Not only that, he has a good reputation in Detroit because that's where he kind of got his start.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's that more than anything because he's got I shouldn't say off-brand. He has a lesser known agent.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the teams that maybe aren't connecting in free agency, haven't connected in free agency, or have missed on guys like Isaiah Hartenstein. It was reported, all right, it would be the Knicks, it could be the Orlando Magic or the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Magic are sitting there with $49.5 million of cap space. What might it look like with the Orlando Magic, which it seems like for 4 or 5 years, Portland and Orlando have been linked on making a deal that we just haven't seen come to fruition. They need a lot of help in a lot of spaces. But they need shooting is a major priority for them.
As active as things have been, I've not heard anything about Anthony Simons, either from the Blazers side of things or from the outside team side of things, or from Anthony Simons' agency, BDA, Bill Duffy. So I think that they're looking at the landscape right now and trying to figure out what they want to do. That's where I think the Anthony Simons stuff is right now. I don't feel like there's anything. There's no ball moving.
No,
for anyone in that sense yet. Orlando, they went with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
Yep.
Does that close the door on Anthony Simons? No. Does that make things harder? I don't really think so. I think it's just different because it's not. You don't really worry about the cap space because they
have plenty of it.
Even after signing KCP, I think they have another $25 million, give or take. But there's this opportunity there still. Because as it sits right now, their starting lineup would essentially be Jalen Suggs, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter Jr. And as good as that is,
so much length.
You're still missing what?
You're
missing some shooting. Like it's a little like the Knicks. If they go small and they go Brunson, Hart, McHale, OG, Randall. Or swap out Hart for DiVincenzo, whatever you want to have the shooting on the floor. You're still you're not a great shooting team.
Yeah.
Like you're a good shooting team, but you're not a great shooting team. And so all of these teams that have like these long, switchy, impactful defenders, the drawback for a lot of them is shooting. And it's the same thing. Like, this is why I think you saw Portland kind of pivot with Donovan Clingan and Denny Avdia. And we even had you on to talk about Denny, so we got to get to that at some point.
Yes, we do.
But both those guys are physical. Like, they're incredibly physical. And as much as Portland has been getting bigger, stronger, longer, more athletic, one of the things they kind of lost was some physicality. So you got a Serbian Israeli dude. I don't think you could put two more Henri people together. I love him.
Is that where Moraine comes from?
Yes.
Henri Not Evil?
Yes, exactly.
Is that a Serbian Israeli?
Yes, I just that is an Henri group. If I've ever, if you could take two cultures on this planet and be like, what's the Henriest like duo you could put together? Serbian Israeli would be super high on that list. And I say that in the most flattering manner. It's not a detriment at all. And then you get Clingan, who's an absolute monster who wants to kill people all the time. So I think you're seeing a big pivot from the organization on Portland side of things, going down this path of like, okay, we want to be switchable and all those kind of things. But also the thing you give up by being switchable a lot of times is physicality.
Well, and look, Chauncey Billups, the style of play that suited him the best in his career was a very physical brand of basketball. And we were talking with Casey Holdall last Wednesday when we were at 10 Barrel, and it was I asked him how much do we feel like the way that officiating is changing is going to maybe skew the way that some of the teams are built, and the allowance of more physical style of play, you've got to have it now. And I appreciate that. I like that. Are there any other teams that have either struck deals or whiff that you are looking at as saying, okay, this affects Portland positively or negatively in a trade market or in a player acquisition move? Because there's some teams that have a lot of cap space that are looking to seemingly unload more. Utah, which they're at $38.5 million in cap space, but they're looking to unload one of their biggest contracts.
Well, not only, that's the thing is there has been a slight pivot in that Lauri Markkanen could be available. A dark horse I've heard there is the Golden State Warriors, basically giving up everything that they have that's not nailed down for Lowry. Now, is that enough? I don't think so. I've talked to folks in Utah that say that half the league is checked in on Lowry. Half the league. He's an incredibly sought after player. He's 25 years old, movement, doesn't need the ball, 7 foot. Not a plus defender, but big enough and mobile enough to play multiple positions.
And on a smoking deal,
that's
expiring as well.
You're going to have to pay him. If you trade for him, you're trading for the right to pay him, and you're going to pay him $40+ million a year. But also, I think he's probably worth it. So he could be a guy that comes up on the market. The Lakers are getting hammered right now. They have come up with nothing, and Pelinka has walked away from the table so many times over the years. I think people in LA are getting tired of it. They have to be feeling real pressure right now. Does that change the impetus for the desire to move for a Jeremy Grant? I think it certainly puts pressure on them. I think if you're wondering what position they're in right now, I'm sure there's a barrel, and I'm sure he's over the top of it.
Yeah,
that's what it very much feels like with Pelinka right now,
because they were one of the first apron teams that can't use a trade exception as part of a deal, right? Under the new CBA, you can't use trade exceptions generated from the previous seasons that roll over.
But LeBron opted out, so right now
they may be safe.
Yeah, I think if the DeMar DeRozan has been rumored as I think Chris Haynes actually just said something about it. It'll either be a into an exception kind of a deal, or as the MLE, or as part of a sign and trade with the Bulls.
Okay.
So, does that mean LeBron ends up taking a pay cut? That's dicey. I don't know if that's necessarily the case in that vein, particularly if it's just a 1-year deal. If you're LeBron, why the hell would I do that there? Before Josh Green got moved in the Klay Thompson deal to Charlotte, I had heard that the Dallas Mavericks were kicking around Matisse Thybulle Obviously, they offered him the restricted free agency deal last year on July 6th that the Blazers turned around and matched. He's available to be traded as of July 6th.
I was going to say, yeah, when does that, because it's the match date, right?
Yeah,
so July 6th, and then...
You could agree to it in principle, then wait until the 6th and then consummate the deal.
Next Monday, when league offices open up again, they'd go, boom.
And that's when, for those that are wondering, that's when the deals for the second-round picks and Denny Avdia will be made official. Because of how they're structured and what they mean to certain teams, they need to float over into the next league year.
All right.
CBA, yay.
All right. Well, it's been busy, but also kind of dead as it pertains to the hometown team. And that's to be expected.
It's going to be,
right
I'm cautiously optimistic that there's going to be some movement.